I want you to do some maths with me real quick. 1% better every single day for 1 year. Do you know what that compounds to? Mathematically, if you apply the principle of compound growth, you end up 37 times better than where you started. Not 37%, 37 times better. And you know what 0% gets you? 0 times better. Exactly where you are 1 year from now, staring at the same ceiling, the same life, the same version of yourself, wondering why nothing has changed. The gap between those two outcomes is not talent, it is not privilege, it is not luck or connections or being born into the right circumstances. It is 1% every day compounded. And before you go and compare your 1% to someone else's, stop. Because that comparison is the thing that has been quietly stealing your progress this whole time. Hi, my name is Blossom and I'm here to make sure that you never settle for a life that is less than the life that you deserve. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most powerful and one of the most misunderstood principles in self-development. The idea of getting 1% better every single day. And why the only competition that ever truly matters is the one that is happening between you and the person that you want to become. This is a wake-up call. So let's get into it. Chapter 1. Let me tell you about water and about rock. If you put a single drop of water on a rock, nothing happens. It just sits there, right? It evaporates eventually. It leaves no mark. Nothing happens. It's completely underwhelming. But if you put a drop of water on that same rock every single day for years, that water will carve canyons. Literal canyon. The Grand Canyon, which is one of the most breathtaking geological formations on the planet, was carved primarily by water. Persistent, consistent, patient water. That is what 1% better every day does to your life. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, he laid out the math explicitly. Improving by 1% every day for a year compounds to being 37 times better by the end of it. Meanwhile, getting 1% worse every day compounds to nearly zero. The difference between those trajectories is almost invisible on a Tuesday, which is why a lot of people miss the small improvements and they wait for the big dramatic leap instead. But this is the thing about the big dramatic leap. It almost doesn't come easy. It doesn't come the way you imagine it, like a sudden explosion of success, a viral moment, a breakthrough, a transformation that happens overnight. It is almost always the invisible work of months, of years that stack on top of each other. The ocean usually looks like a lot of water until you remember that it is made of drops. Every skill you want to build, every habit you want to form, every version of yourself that you are trying to become is built one unremarkable day at a time. One session, one page, one decision, 1% at a time. Chapter 2. Okay, this is the part that I need you to really hear, because I think this is where most of us are quietly sabotaging ourselves, and we don't even realize it. Like, you are scrolling, you see someone your age who is already where you want to be. They already have the business, the body, the following, the lifestyle, and then something will happen in your chest. There will be this tight, heavy, deflating thing that you try to tell yourself is inspiration, but honestly, deep down inside yourself, most of the time it is shame. And this is what comparison is actually doing to you. It is measuring your chapter 1 against other people's chapter 10 or their chapter 20 or their chapter that started in a completely different circumstance with completely different resources, a completely different support system, a completely different set of life experiences that brought them to this exact point. You are comparing your internal experience, your doubt, your setbacks, your messy behind the scenes that people don't see to their own curated external highlights reel. That is not a fair fight. That is not even a real fight. It is a fiction that you are using to make yourself feel behind in a race that you were never in with them in the first place. Psychologist Leon Festinger, on his social comparison theory, told us that humans naturally compare themselves to others as a way of evaluating themselves. It is wired in us, but research consistently shows that upward social comparison, which is comparing yourself to people who appear to be doing better than you, is strongly linked to decreased self-esteem, to increased anxiety, and to lower motivation over time. So this is not just a mindset problem, it is actively working against your brain chemistry and your forward momentum. Every time you compare yourself to someone else, you are redirecting energy that could have gone into your own 1%, and you are spending it on a mental exercise that is leaving you feeling worse and doing less. Chapter 3. Now, I'm not going to pretend that there is absolutely zero value in looking at other people's journey. That would be dishonest, and I think you deserve better than that. The useful side of comparison is that other people's success can serve as a proof of concept. So if someone who started from a similar place has built what you are trying to build, that is evidence that what you're trying to build is possible, and that is useful. It can be genuinely motivating in the right dose. Seeing someone else do the thing that you want to do can expand your sense of what you're capable of, and that is not something to throw away entirely. The destructive side of comparison, and that is the one that is usually running most of our lives, is when you take someone else's journey and you use it as a measuring stick for your life. When instead of being inspired, you feel convicted. When instead of feeling motivated, you feel inadequate. When you start making decisions that are not based on your own values and your own goals and your own pace, but they are based on needing to keep up with someone who is not even in your own race. The line between being useful and destructive comparison is that, are you using them as an inspiration or a verdict? She did it and I haven't, so I must be behind, I must be less than, I must not be enough. It drains fuel. Use people as inspiration as much as you want. The moment it starts shifting to verdicts, you need to redirect. You need to come back to yourself. You need to come back to you. So now let's go to chapter 4. I want you to sit with this concept because I think it will genuinely restructure how you think about growth. I want you to start thinking about growth as it is me versus me. Every single day, that is it. That is the whole game of growth. It is not you versus her. It is not you versus your ex-classmate who seems to be thriving. It is not you versus the girl on your timeline who just announced something that you wanted to announce first. It is you versus you. The version of you today is better than the version of you yesterday. And even if it is by 1%, even if it's by one decision, even if it's by one moment of choosing growth over comfort, discipline over avoidance, honesty over convenience, that is your scoreboard. That is the only scoreboard that should have your attention. Because what happens when you make it you versus you, it will help you to stop needing other people to be doing poorly for you to feel like you are doing well. You stop feeling threatened by other people's wins. You stop measuring yourself against timelines and trajectories that have nothing to do with your actual life. You get free. And freedom, the specific freedom of knowing that your only job is to beat yesterday's version of yourself, is one of the most motivating, most sustainable, most genuinely energizing frameworks you can live by, because it is always achievable. On your worst day, you can still find 1% improvement, one thing you did better, one growth you chose, and that is enough. That counts, and honestly that compounds over time. Now let's go to chapter 5. I don't want this to stay theoretical, so let me get very, very, very specific. 1% better every day does not mean doing something dramatic every day. It means reading 10 pages when yesterday you literally read 0. It means writing one paragraph when yesterday you didn't even open the document at all. It means walking for 15 minutes when yesterday you didn't move at all. It means sending one email when yesterday you let fear keep you from drafting the email. It means drinking one more glass of water, getting to sleep 30 minutes earlier, saying one kind thing to yourself in the mirror when yesterday you said something cruel. None of these things feel like much. On any individual day, they almost feel embarrassingly small. But the magic and I need you to actually believe me, is that you are not just doing this thing, you are building the identity of someone who does the thing. You are now becoming the person who does that thing. Every time you choose the 1% over the zero, you cast a vote for the particular kind of woman you want to be. A woman who shows up, a woman who improves, a woman who does it even when it is small, even when no one is watching, even when it doesn't feel like it is enough. And identity, which is who you believe yourself to be, is what ultimately drives behavior at the deepest level. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems and to your self-concept. Build the identity of someone who gets 1% better every day, and the rest will follow for you. Now, I had to take off my glasses for this. Chapter 4. Let's talk about practical, specific, and actionable steps into becoming the highest and best version of yourself. So, step 1, define your 1% in every area of your life. And I don't want you to be vague about it. I want you to be specific. What does 1% better look for your health today, for your crafts, for your relationship, for your finances, your mental state? Get very granular with it. Don't be too vague. Don't say something like, oh, be healthier. Say something like, okay, drink more water today. The more actionable, the more likely that you are actually going to do it. Step 2, track your wins and not your gaps. Most of us spend our entire self-improvement journey focused on how far we still have to go. Start also tracking how far you have come. Keep a simple daily note, even one sentence about one thing you did better today than yesterday. It is not toxic positivity. It is, you building an evidence file that proves to your brain that you are someone who improves. That evidence will change how you begin to see yourself, and how you see yourself usually changes everything. Step 3, create a comparison audit. For 1 week, notice every time that you compare yourself to someone else, and make sure you write it down. Note whether it left you feeling inspired or feeling deflated. And at the end of the week, you look at the pattern. You probably find that certain accounts, certain people, certain contexts consistently leave you feeling less than, and that information will be gold for you. Ruthlessly curate your edits based on your input, based on what fuels you instead of what diminishes you. Step 4, build a you versus you benchmark. Every Sunday or whatever day works for you, spend 5 minutes comparing this week's you to last week's you, not to anybody else, just you. What did you do more of? What did you handle better? What did you learn? What broke the pattern? This weekly ritual keeps your eyes on your own track and gives you evidence of your own momentum. Step 5, celebrate every 1% like it counts, because it counts. We are terrible at this. We save the celebration for the big wins and we dismiss the small ones as not even worth acknowledging. But those small ones are the big ones in form of progress. The day you finally started the thing, the day you showed up despite you not feeling like it, the day you chose yourself in a small way that no one else saw, celebrate them, acknowledge them. They are not nothing, they are everything. Step 6, on the days 1% feel impossible, aim for 0.1%. There will be days that real days, hard days, where 1% will feel like a mountain. Okay, aim for 0.1%. Open the document and type the sentence. Walk that 1 minute. Do one thing. The goal is not always to be performing at your peak. The goal is to never fully stop. Keep the thread alive. Even the thinnest thread of progress is still a thread. Step 7, come back to yourself every time. Comparison always pulls you sideways. Build a phrase, a sentence, a mantra that when you say it to yourself, the moment you catch the comparison spiral starting, it will work. Mine is simply, my only comparison of myself is me. And yours can be anything, because the redirecting of attention is a muscle that you can build by doing it repeatedly until it becomes automatic. We have spoken so much. In conclusion, I need you to really hear this. Nobody else's pace is your deadline. Nobody else's chapter is your benchmark. Nobody else's journey has anything to do with what you are capable of building in yourself. The only question that matters, that should matter to you, is that, are you better today than you were yesterday? Even if it's by 1%, by one decision, by one moment where you chose growth over stagnation, courage over comfort, forward over standing still. That is it. That is the whole assignment. And if you do that, if you really do that, consistently, stubbornly, on the days it is easy, and especially on the days it is not, you will look up one day and you will not recognize the life that you are living. And it is not because something magical happened to you, but it is because you happened to yourself 1% at a time. Go be 1% today and then do it again tomorrow. I'll see you in the next video. Drop it in the comments. What is your 1% for today? Let us hold ourselves accountable, and share this video with a girl who needs to stop comparing herself and needs to start competing with herself. She knows who she is.